Candidates, as we go through this, there are sections where there are 2-minute time limits. Your opening and closing remarks will be 2 minutes. You'll get a warning at 1.5 minutes. Mr. Crosby will flash you with a piece of paper. You'll get another warning when you have 10 seconds to go. And because we had a little difficulty last time shutting down a few of the candidates, I brought the big artillery.
Just in case.
Now, you may mistakenly think because I have this striker plate that it's intended to strike the plate. But if you see me approaching, please place your hand out and I will shut you down. You have some 1-minute questions and you'll get just a 10-second warning with that. When you have reached your time limit, Mr. Crosby will hold his pad up and keep it up. You may finish the sentence that you're in, please not the paragraph that you're in. All right, sir.
Okay, we're about to begin then with the opening statements. We'll go ballot order. We'll start with the mayoral candidates. Mr. Russell.
2 minutes.
2 minutes. All right, yeah. First of all, I want to say thank you to the Highlander staff and the chamber and the River City Grill for putting on this event, and to Gil and Drew for putting up with us. But most of all, thank you for having enough interest in city government here to attend tonight. I do appreciate that. I just simply want to say that the people that you see sitting before you have a task ahead of them. Anybody that is that you elect for the next term that we have are going to have to face some very serious problems within the city of Marble Falls. Don't mean to be an alarmist, but with a slumping economy, there are many, many issues that hit the city, and it also hit the businesses within the area. They need to figure out a way to rebuild the reserves within the city and remove the watch that's on our bond rating. They need to handle a mandated update of our water plant. And we need to make certain that any project that we look at within the city blends with the comprehensive plan that was approved. And the wild card in the scenario is anything that's going to be passed down to the city from the feds, the state, and maybe even the county. We don't know what that is yet, but that's going to have to be rolled into the city budget. And it's getting to be more and more important to develop strategic partners with our neighbors, with organizations to solve, because the city no longer can do everything for everybody. I made a list up of some of the strategic issues a few weeks ago, and I was totally amazed at the volume and the complexity of these issues. I need to close by just simply saying that based on my experience of over 10 years, of which 10 years were in city management, I feel that I have the knowledge and the experience to work with whatever council that you elect to address these complex issues ahead of us.
Thank you. Mr. Butcher.
Thanks to all of you for giving us this opportunity to come before the citizens and express our points of view for the upcoming election. I've lived in Marble Falls since 1990, with the exception of 6 years that I spent in Nashville, Tennessee, and from 97 to 03. Operate the Art Bar and Grill and volunteer my time at the Uptown Theater. I'd like just to outline a couple of basic things that I consider my platform. The number one thing that I would like to have is transparency. I propose to put the city's checkbook online. I want to encourage greater council participation in the day-to-day business. I'd like to see the Mayor Pro Tem on a revolving weekly basis and involve the other councilmen on a weekly basis too, so that everybody has a better idea of what happens in city government. I want to reevaluate the funding levels for the police, fire, and EMS to an average for comparable cities in our region. I think that we're way out of line in several things, and there are great dollars involved, of which we have scarce tools to use in the future here. And so In that regard, I feel like that we need to reprioritize our street budgets. I'd like to see us double that street budget. It's something that everybody uses and what shows off our town. And I would reemphasize the redevelopment of downtown, our lakeside areas, and the west side. These are our community roots and reflect on our city and our citizens.
All right, thank you. Mr. Nash?
Thank you, Judge Jones. I also want to thank Roy and his staff of the Highlander and everyone here that attended tonight to give us this opportunity to have this forum and get to know your candidates a little bit better. I'm new to city politics and to this arena, so I would start by telling you a little bit more about myself. I'm a lifelong resident here. I'm 31 years old. I have a family, 3 kids, a business on Main Street, and also a construction and development business in the area. I've lived here my entire life. I have kids in the school system here. So I consider myself a large stakeholder in the community and its future. I want to see it succeed. I think it has great opportunities to succeed. We need to do some serious planning now to put ourselves in a position to take advantage of the opportunities as the economy turns around. Some of the things I'd like to see happen if I'm on this council would be improvement to existing infrastructure, making strides to meet the comprehensive plan that the council of a few years ago worked so hard to put together, and also making plans and continually monitoring those plans to put ourselves in a position to really take advantage of the opportunity that I think the city has with the tremendous growth that we're going to see over the next 10 to 15 years. I have with my construction and development background, I think that would serve me really well on this council. As it grows, construction and development is going to be a major part of the city's growth that needs to be managed and controlled well. So I look forward to doing that and putting that to work for me if I'm elected.
Thank you. You all are doing real well on the time. Mr. Rise?
Thank you, Judge, and thank you again to Roy Bodie and the staff at the Highlander, as well as Paul and River City Grill for putting this forum together and sponsoring it for us this evening. I also want to thank the voters of Marble Falls for not only coming out tonight, but for electing me to my first 2-year term 2 years ago. And it's been my privilege to serve on the city council for this period of time. We have had some very tough decisions to make in the last 2 years, and we will have many more very serious, very tough issues, as Mayor Russell has already pointed out some of those points. As an optimist, though, I'd like to point out some of the victories we've had in the last couple of years. We've finalized the comprehensive plan. We have formed the Capital Improvement Plan Committee. We formed the HOT Committee, the Hotel Occupancy Tax Committee. We've approved a contract to advertise tourism in the area, starting the Downtown Master Plan Committee that is currently at work. We've assisted to get the bridge project started. That's a $24 million TxDOT project here in town that you're well aware of. We completed the water line to the new hospital, and we approved the 2 largest zoning requests in the city's history. So those have just been some of the victories that we've accomplished in the last couple of years. And budget concerns are always probably a daily concern. I know it is for our city manager and the staff, but it's something that's going to need to be more and more concerning to each of us, not only as council members, but as citizens. I would caution you to use your votes wisely, to find the folks that have the experience that you feel is necessary to move forward. And I hope you'll find that I'm one of those folks. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Hurst?
Thank you, Judge Jones. Thanks to the Highlander and River City Grill and the Chamber. We really appreciate y'all putting this on and the opportunity to share our viewpoints on why we can be leaders of this community and participate in a positive way. I want to thank Councilmember Ives. He said that there's a number of people here that for y'all to use your hearts and vote for those that have the experience, and I think I'm one of those. Thank you very much. the involvement that I've been in the city on the Planning and Zoning Board, as well as part of the members of the Comprehensive Planning Committee, have led me to have a lot of insight on where the city's been, what the city's gone through, and the potential of what we can go through. We work very hard on that, and I feel privileged to have been a part of that. Share with y'all, some of y'all that don't know me, I am a parent first. I am a business owner. I have opened up a number of businesses successfully and continued in that regard. My husband and I moved here in 2000 and embraced this community and invested quite a bit in that. And that's where my heart lies, in seeing the asset, the jewels that are here, and building off of that. One of the things that we need to be mindful of as we go forward is our budget and our spending. I think the staff has done a good job, especially in this past year, of cutting down and embracing where they can be physically minded in that regard, and we can build off of those successes, as Councilmember Ives has pointed out as well. I would like to see that we do more for maintaining and improving our existing roads and the original part of the city. That includes the historic parts as well, the parks. Excuse me?
Time.
Oh, my gosh. I'm gonna have to pick up in the closing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Rhodes.
Thank you, Judge. Also, thank you, Highlander, and those that have sponsored here tonight. I think it's important to point out, too, that the real definite importance of what has been promoted here, it goes far deeper than what's apparent. The local sponsors are underwriting our very democracy that is represented here tonight, and again, I say thank you. I'm a 16-year resident of Marble Falls, and I have witnessed a lot of changes. Having moved here in the summer of 1995 with a lot of other folks, it became apparent to me that Marble Falls was going to be inundated with growth. I think we've all seen that over the last 15, 16 years. And it was also apparent that we probably weren't prepared for a lot of that growth. Having the opportunity to have grown up and experienced as an adult a very large metropolitan area, having moved here from that, it's not so much what you want to do, but what you don't want to do. And I had the opportunity to bring those kind of thoughts to the apparent to the forefront during those early council times. I'm a firm believer that there is a balance to be struck between obstructing new growth on one side and the ideals of maintaining a community environment on the other. Our community continues to prepare itself for the unseen. Having grown up in a large city, there's a lot of undesirable things, and I recognize that this vulnerability in many areas at this time. As an example, I submitted the first ordinance against sexual-oriented businesses in 1998. There was none. Without precautions such as this, the unforeseen could be the future. As a candidate with more experience on the dais than any other up here tonight, and a deep-rooted, biblically centered character, I am confident that I will help strike that balance to lead this community into the next era. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Spitter.
Okay, I'm Sharon Pittard. I'm not a politician, and I'm not very articulate when it comes to forums like this, but I am intelligent and I am determined. I got into politics a couple of years ago when the tax rate went up drastically, and I knew that the citizens needed a voice up here on the dais. So that's why I'm here, and okay, one thing that I think that I've accomplished is I do read the documents that are before me that we get every other week, and I understand them, and I think I've done a fairly good job at representing the people and what they want, because that's what I see my role as, because otherwise you folks won't have a voice in the city government. See, I'm not very good at this, I'm sorry. I think one thing we need to do is continue to hold back on the spending, especially in this low economic time, and wait till the economy recovers. our, 70% of the debt, 70% of the budget goes towards debt, and I think that's outrageous, but we have no control over it right now. Because we have to pay off the debt that we have. So I see that my time's almost up.
It's all right, you don't have to use all of it, but you have a little left if you want. Done? Okay.
I think next there will be a question posed by Mr. Schock just to the mayoral candidates. Mr. Schock?
Yes, we're going to ask a question of the mayoral candidates. It'll be phrased slightly differently since one of the two is an incumbent. To George Russell, what's wrong with voting for your opponent?
That's a 1 minute
Boy, I-
question.
Can I have a minute to think about that a little bit? You know, if you are a reasonable man with high ethics, you want the best person that can be in the job. If you feel that your opponent is better than you, then you ought to go for that. And I say that swallowing my words, you know, but it is very, very important that the mayor of this city and the council have the best people for the job are there, and that the ethics of that person is of the highest standard. You gotta ask him that same question.
Now, a question from Mr. Russell.
Slightly different to Mr. Buster. What's wrong with the job the mayor has done?
I think the mayor's done a very admirable job. There's nothing easy about this job. We just go at it differently, and that's probably the biggest difference between us here. I've spent 20 years on Main Street, and I think it's the heart of our town, and I really want to see that emphasis there. So with the comprehensive plan that we've done, with the bridge that's being built, I want to focus on what needs to be done to tie all those elements together. We have a huge, huge project here that needs to dovetail with the other plans that we've made, and so that's where I want to put my emphasis, because there's really, we both share a love for this community, and that's the reason why we're here. So I don't disparage anybody who's ever said it at this point.
All right, thank you. Now I believe there is a general question that will be posed to each of the council candidates. These are also 1 minute responses, please, and you get a warning at 10 seconds.
Here's the question. Do you think changes are needed in the Marble Falls Economic Development Commission, and if so, what are they?
Are you
Mr.
starting?
Nash?
Thank you. First, I want to tell you guys that was a good answer to that first question. In the Economic Development Corporation, changes are needed. I think you need to change continuously. You need to, our economic environments, it's changing every day. We don't know if it's when it's going to improve, how long it's going to take. So I think we need to continuously change and monitor those changes. We need to start with a plan. We need to continually update the plan and make sure we have leaders behind it, pushing it. The EDC needs to be out there regionally looking for opportunities to help grow this community and bring more businesses here. And businesses may not be ready to move here this year, but they're still out there. They're making plans for 2 to 3 years from now. They may be ready to make a move in 2 or 3 years, so we need to be in a position where we're in front of them and they know that Marble Falls is here, we're still in business, and we're not going anywhere.
All right, thank you. Mr. Ives?
I think the question is quite timely. As a current director for the Economic Development Corporation, I do know that changes are in the wind. I know that changes are being made even now with forming the strategic plan that is very much needed, has been needed for a while. I know that we're also in the process of looking for an economic development executive director. So I know that person, when that person is in place, things will begin to happen at certainly a more rapid rate. I think that there is an excellent opportunity for the city, the EDC, and the chamber to come together as key organizations in the city to do several projects. The three top projects that were identified by the public some time ago were the sports complex, the VOTEC school, as well as the visitor center that is proposed. These three particular projects will be shining examples of the way that these three organizations, as well as others, can come together and work for the best efforts of the city.
Thank you. Ms. Hurst?
Thank you. Yes, EDC does need a change. I was a part of prompting what they're going through this year. Started that a year or so back when my husband and I brought to their attention that they do not have the business strategic plan that the bylaws call for. They were not working on a plan. It was just ideas popping up here or there, and not gonna go down that road in the past, but yes, we need a change, and that needs to start with getting the business strategic plan in place. From that plan, you have a vision and you work from there. They also need the right person leading in, as their EDC director, manager in that position, that has connections, that has the right experience, that knows how to work with the businesses and commerce and bring in their attentions to the area. Bottom line is, yes, EDC needs a change, and it is, as Councilmember Ives pointed out, started in that direction to get that change made.
Thank you. Mr. Rhodes?
Thank you. Again, the answer is yes. There's change that needs to happen. The EDC, along with the foundation that needs to be built, and it's a long time coming, as candidate Hurst pointed out, there needs to be a mission statement. There needs to be a strategic plan to develop a roadmap of what to do next, and it has not been in place, but is currently being worked on. There needs to be significant cohesion between the city and the citizens and toward the CIP plan and projects, that they can work together with a common goal to get these things to come to fruition. That hasn't happened as of yet either, and it will soon happen. The plans that the EDC puts together need to be met with return on investment. Things need to be quantifiable. And I'm all for VOTEC opportunities, but I see them as somewhat philanthropic. And while they're good, the citizens of Marble Falls need to return on the investment for the monies that are being spent.
Thank you. Ms. Perry?
I agree with Jane Marie. I appreciate that she had brought up a year ago that the EDC needs a plan and they need to be working with a plan and not shooting at the hip here and there. I agree with Rhodes that about having a plan, working together with the citizens and the other entities that govern the city. I think it's very important that the appointees is a very important job for the council to appoint. The state gives council the right to change the appointees at any time for any, they don't have to have a reason for that. I think it's, we just need some people that this council could work with, and I think the EDC needs to be going out trade shows and doing a lot more work than what they have been doing.
Thank you.
Help this economy.
Do you have audience questions, or do you have another question?
I think we're gonna go to the audience first.
All right, I think we need a little bit of camera change briefly.